In today's video I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful rainbow and cloud bookmark. Hello, my name's Karen Stangram and welcome to Conquer Crochet, the channel for tips, tricks and techniques for conquering your crochet. Everything I talk about in today's video will be linked in the descriptions below. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you don't miss a single stitch. So if you're keen to get going with this video, give me a thumbs up and let's do this. So for this tutorial I'm going to be using a selection of rainbow colours. That will be for making our rainbow. We're then going to have a white and also a silver or a grey. This is a grey colour, but it has a sort of silver thread running through. I'm not sure if you can pick that up on the camera. It sort of sparkles a little bit, but you can equally just use a grey, or if you have something more silvery, silver thread, you could use that. And I'm going to be using a lighter blue. This is to sort of represent the sky, which is why I've swapped it out with the darker blue, which I would ordinarily have used that colour, but I wanted to use this one for the sky and to have a bit of a contrast. So those are the yarns I'm using. All of them except the silver one are patterns 100% cotton, and they are double knits. Because they are a double knit, I should be using a 3.5mm crochet hook. I'm also going to need a needle to sew in my ends, and I'm going to need a pair of scissors for cutting off my ends. This silver colour I got from, I think it was B&M Home. They have a yarn department there. Like I say, any double knit cotton that you have in a grey or a silvery colour will work just as well. So for the first part we're just going to need our rainbow colours, and we're going to start in the centre of the rainbow. So we're going to start off with our purple. So with the purple we're going to make a magic ring. You can do this in whichever way you prefer. And I'm going to chain 1. We're going to make 12 double crochets into the centre of our purple magic ring. So we insert through both parts of the magic ring, yarn over, pull back through. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull back through both loops. So that's 1. And 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6, 7, and 8. And you can just tighten up your ring a little bit if you need to. 9 and 10, 11 and 12. And here we are going to tighten up the ring quite a lot. And we're just going to check the number of stitches we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And we're going to insert our hook through that first double crochet that we made. Now because we've tightened the ring up, that might become a little bit tighter, so you might have to loosen it off a little bit. So we insert our hook through both parts of that first double crochet, and as I said, it might be a little bit tight. Wiggle it through, yarn over, pull through, and then pull through the loop on your hook. We're then going to yarn over, pull through the yarn, and we're going to snip our end off. So there we have our first round of purple for the centre of the rainbow. So the next colour we're going to need now is the blue. So taking our blue, we're going to make a slip knot. You can do this in whichever way you prefer. And we're going to join our yarn to our purple circle that we just made. So we're going to insert into any of the double crochets we've just made, insert your slip stitch you just made, sorry, your slip knot that you just made, and then pull that slip knot through the double crochet from the previous round and yarn over. Okay, so in each of our stitches now we're going to make 2 double crochets, so we're increasing every stitch each time we go around, so we should end up with 24. So 2 double crochets in each stitch, so that's 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10, 11 and 12, 13 and 14, 15 and 16, get those tails out of the way, 17 and 18, 19 and 20. Now we need to make sure we go into this one just after the knot that we made. It's going to be a bit tighter because of the knot. So 21, and again in that same space 22, and then into the stitch where we joined our slip knot, going to do 23 and 24. So just to check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and we're going to do a slip stitch into the top of that 24th one, which was the first double crochet we made, and then we're going to yarn over and fasten off. So that's round 2. Now we don't need to worry about all these ends, we haven't got to sew them in. If you want to hide them as you're going around, if they're getting in your way, that's absolutely fine. This circle which we're making now, our rainbow circle, will be folded in half, so all of these bits will be hidden inside our rainbow and adds a little bit of extra padding, so we don't need to worry about sewing those in, which is great. So let's move on to our next colour, which is green. Okay, with the green we're going to do exactly the same as we did with the blue. We're going to make a slip knot. Again, do swoops whichever way you prefer, helps if the crochet hook's the right way round. Take it off our hook and insert the hook into the top of any of the double crochets from the previous round. Reattach our slip knot and pull the slip knot through and yarn over and pull through. Okay, for this round we're going to do 1 double crochet in each of the stitches, so there were 24 stitches in the last round, so we're going to have 24 stitches in this round, and they're all double crochets in UK terminology. So that's insert through both parts, yarn over, pull through, have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through the 2 loops on your hook. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. So continue this way, doing 1 double crochet into each of the stitches of the round. So pause the video now and I will meet you at the end of this round. So I'm just coming up to the end of my green round. So I'm going to insert into my first stitch from the green round, yarn over, pull through the loop on your hook, and then pull through to fasten off. And there we have the end of round 3. So it's starting to grow. we're now going to move on to our yellow yarn. Now, as I said, I'm doing this in cotton, but you can do this in any colour you like. So again, we're going to make a slip knot. We're going to attach to any of the double crochets from the previous round. Attach your slip knot back on with the yellow. Pull through the double crochet and yarn over. Tighten up that tail if you wish. So in this round we're going to do 2 double crochets in the first stitch, so that's 1 and 2, and then 1 double crochet in each of the next 4 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3 and 4. 2 double crochets in the next stitch, 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, 3 and 4. And we're going to continue this all the way round, so 2 double crochets in the first stitch, 1 double crochet in the next 4 stitches. 2 double crochets in the next stitch, 1 double crochet in the next 4, and I will meet you back at the end of this round. Then I'm just coming up to my last stitch, so I'm going to slip stitch into the top of the first double crochet, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through the one on your hook, and pull through to fasten off. Pop the yellow to one side for now, just tighten up that knot. Okay, so we're getting there. So now we're going to add our orange. Okay, so exactly the same way as we did before, we're going to make the slip knot to start. We're going to insert our hook through one of the double crochets from the previous round, pop our slip knot onto our hook, pull the top of that knot through the double crochet and yarn over, tightening up the tail. So for this round we're going to do 2 double crochets in the next stitch, so that's 1 and 2. And then we're going to do 1 double crochet in each of the next 5 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Then 2 double crochets, 1 and 2 in the same stitch, and then 1 in the next, 1 in the next, and then the last one is the 5th one. Again, 2 double crochets, and then 1 in each of the 5 stitches coming up next. 2 double crochets in the next stitch, 1 in each of the 5. So continue this way until you get to the end of this round, and I will see you there. And we just come to the last stitch of our orange round, so I'm going to slip stitch into the top of the first double crochet, and I'm going to yarn over, and we're going to fasten off. Can pop the orange to one side now. Okay, we just have one colour left in our rainbow to go, and that's the red. So in exactly the same way as we did before, I'm going to make a slip knot, going to join, I'm going to try and make a slip knot, I'm going to make a slip knot, join it onto any of the double crochets from the orange round, pop your slip knot back onto your hook, pull through the double crochet, get that pesky tail out the way, yarn over and tighten up that tail. Okay, in this round we are going to do 2 double crochets in the first stitch, and then 1 double crochet in each of the next 6 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, and then 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and continue this until we get to the end. 2 double crochets in 1 stitch, 1 double crochet in the next 6 stitches, and I'll meet you at the end. So just made my last red stitch, so I'm going to crochet. Be careful not to crochet into that chain that's pulling across there. I'm going to crochet into the top of the double crochet, pull through, making a slip knot, and I'm not going to yarn over and weave off. What we're going to do is just to pull our yarn and take out our hook. So this is going to be our rainbow shape. If you want to, you could stuff this with toy stuffing. I made one that had toy stuffing in it. It sort of pulled it out of shape a little bit, but as long as you don't overstuff it, you don't want it to be too fat, it should work okay. For this one I'm not going to do the toy stuffing, but it is an option if you want it. So we need to make sure that when we fold our rainbow in half that we have our working yarn in the bottom corner here, and we just tuck in all those ends, make sure they're not going to come out when we're trying to work. So I'm going to rejoin my hook. So we're going to slip stitch all the way around now. So we want to make sure we have both parts of our rainbow. So we go through the first part, making sure we're going through both parts of the stitch, go through both parts of the stitch at the back of the rainbow, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through the one on your hook. Then we do exactly the same for the next stitch, making sure we're going through both parts of the rainbow, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through the one on your hook. Do the same for the next stitch and make your slip stitch. Insert through for the next stitch and make your slip stitch. Insert the next stitch, make a slip stitch. So we're just going to slip stitch all the way around, making sure we're going through both parts of the rainbow so they don't come undone, and also making sure that any tails that we're not weaving in are well and truly hidden. Try not to catch them as you're doing your slip stitches going through, otherwise you'll just end up with random colours poking out through the red, and that's not going to be good for anybody. So we're just going to work down the second side of the rainbow. It's going to be a little bit fiddly. And a couple more stitches to go. Making sure I'm going through the right stitches there. Have a random stitch then. Okay, and I'm just going to go through the bottom bit as well, just to make sure it's nice and secure. Yarn over, pull through to fasten off. You don't need to leave a long tail because we're just about to weave that in. If you didn't want to do the slip stitches going around here, you could equally have finished off here, left yourself a longer tail, and you could just sew through if that's what you prefer to do. It's entirely up to you. Okay, so we want to weave in our end. Now this is going to probably be used quite a bit since it's a bookmark. So we want to make sure that we are going to do 3 lots of weaving in just to make it nice and secure. That's our second, and then just once more through, just to be triply sure that it's not going to come undone. So I'm going to pull it tight, snip my end, and then just flatten that out just to make sure there's no lumps or bumps. Okay, and with the threads inside, you can actually feel there's a little bit of 3D-ness to it. It actually feels quite nice when it's made in the cotton. You can make this in any yarn that you want to. Okay, so we can put our red aside now, and we're going to move on to making our cloud. So I've just put a piece of blue paper on the table because we're using white yarn and the table's white and you wouldn't be able to see it. So we're going to start off by making a slip knot. You can do this in whichever way you prefer. And we're going to chain 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. We're then going to do a double crochet in the second chain from the hook. We don't count the one on the hook, so that's 1, 2. So we're going to double crochet in here. So insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, 2. We're now going to do a double crochet in each of the next 5 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 5. In the last stitch we're going to do 4 double crochets in the same stitch, so 4 together. So that's 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now because that's the first stitch, it's pulled our tail, so we can tighten that back up again. We're going to twist our work round and we're going to work back along the other side of the chain. So we're going to do 5 double crochets working back up the chain. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. We're going to do 3 double crochets in the last stitch, so we're going to go 1, go through both parts, 2 and 3, and then we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch of the round into there. Okay, we're now going to do 6 double crochets in the next stitch. So this is the stitch we've just worked into, so into the next stitch we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. We're going to skip 2 stitches and we're going to slip stitch in the next stitch, and that slip stitch gives us the bump at the end of that little section. In the next stitch we're going to do 4 double crochets, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Going to skip 2 stitches and we're going to slip stitch in the next stitch. So you notice we're actually working almost in an oval now. In the next stitch we're going to do 8 trebles. So yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through. You should have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. We're going to skip 2, 1, 2, and we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch. Then in the next stitch we're going to do 6 trebles in the same stitch. So yarn over, going to do 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5, do that again, 5 and 6. This time we're going to skip 3 stitches, so 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to double crochet 9 in the next stitch. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, so 7, 8, it's getting quite tight in that stitch now, and 9. And we're going to slip stitch into that first double crochet, and we're going to yarn over, and we're going to fasten off. So we can have our cloud any way up that we like. It could be this way with the larger bumps on the top, or you could have it with the larger bumps on the bottom. It's entirely up to you. I'm just going to quickly weave in those ends just so they're out of the way for the next part. Again, I'm going to use the rule of 3 just to keep those nice and neatly tidied away. So that's 2 and 3. Oops. Now if you wanted to, you could actually make 2 white clouds and have them then back to back, so you would get the same sort of thickness you get with the rainbow, because obviously you've got double thickness here, so you could have 2 that you would just stick back to back. If you wanted to do that before doing the silver round, and then you could use the silver round to join your 2 clouds together. Is that 2? You lose count sometimes, don't you? I think that was 2. Anyway, if it wasn't and this is 3 or 4, it's extra secure. Okay, so we have a cloud and we have our rainbows, so pop that rainbow to the side. Don't need my white now, but I would like to have my silver. As I said, you could use silver. This one's a grey with silver in it. So what I'm going to do is make a slip knot, and we're going to join it in exactly the same way as we've been joining yarn throughout the whole of this project. So make your slip knot, take your hook out, join to one of the stitches from the previous row on the white, add your slip knot and pull through that stitch, yarn over and pull through, tighten up your tail. And all we're going to do now is to double crochet around the outside. So if you were doing this with 2 clouds, you would just insert your hook through both parts of the cloud, then put your slip knot on and join the two together, and then you would double crochet through both parts as we did on the rainbow. So we're just going to double crochet all the way around our rainbow, and I think this just gives it a nice little finishing touch to the cloud, where you have every cloud has a silver lining. Because obviously you can't get rainbows without rain, so there must be clouds somewhere in order to have our rainbow. There may be some parts where you're not too sure. Doesn't really matter, as long as it looks like you're going through all the stitches as you work your way around. So I'm just going to speed this a little bit up here just so we can save some time on the video, or if you want to, you could pause the video and I will see you at the end of this round. So I got to the end of my round, going to insert into the first stitch to make a slip stitch, and yarn over and fasten off. And we just need to weave our silver parts away. If you did this double-sided it wouldn't really matter, but if you're only doing one like I am here, weave into the silver rather than into the white, otherwise you'll be able to see the silver showing through the white. And one more for luck. And then the other one. Okay, so just snip that end off there, and we now have our cloud with the silver lining and our rainbow. We just need to find a way to connect them, and we'll be doing that part next. Okay, so to start our bookmark part, we're going to need our rainbow and our cloud close at hand. I'm going to start off with the blue. I'm going to make a slip knot and take it off my hook. I'm going to pick up my rainbow, and you can see you've got the circle that we made with our magic ring. I'm going to go to one side of that circle now and just insert our hook through one or maybe two stitches, depending how it works best for you. Put your slip knot onto your hook and pull it back through those stitches. Now to make our bookmark part, we're going to need to chain to start with. Now I'm going to do a chain of 50, which kind of works out for the average paperback. If you wanted to make it slightly longer, you can. Obviously if you want to make it shorter you can, but you're then going to be limited on the sorts of books you can actually use your bookmark in. So I'm going to just chain 50, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and pause the video now and I'll see you when I've done my 50 chains. So I've chained my 50 chains, and I'm going to pick up my cloud. I'm going to turn my cloud over. Now this is going to be the top of my cloud, I've decided. So I'm going to turn my cloud over and find roughly where the middle is. You can fold it in half if you want to, just to get a rough idea. So I'm going to insert my hook through one of the stitches. Now that one's going to come through the front, so I don't want to do that. I'm going to go a little bit lower to one of the stitches where it's not going to come through the front, and I'm going to yarn over and pull through both the white stitch and the blue stitch, which is being a pain, and then going to chain one and I'm going to do the same in another stitch in the next stitch along, just to give it a little bit more stability. Okay, so now we have joined on, we're now going to work back up our chain. So we want to make sure that our chain is as flat as it can be, it's not twisted, and if it is twisted you can just untwist it now just to make sure that it's all okay. And we're going to half treble in each of the stitches going back up. So I'm going to yarn over and making sure I'm not going into the ones that are inside the cloud here. I'm going to go into the first one that's not attached to the cloud. So yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all three on your hook. Yarn over, insert into the next chain, yarn over, pull through. You should have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through all 3. Yarn over, insert to the next chain, yarn over, pull through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. And we're going to continue that all the way up our chain until we reach back at the rainbow. So that's a half treble in each of the chain stitches, working our way back up, and you can see there that's how we're attaching our cloud. So pause the video now as you do your half trebles all the way back up. So I've worked my way back up the chain, I've done my last stitch. I now want to go into the bottom of my rainbow again. So we started off on this side, so making sure our yarn is over the top. Going to insert into the purple stitch, yarn over and pull through. Gone through 2 there, and then yarn over and finish off. Tighten up both of the knots on these bits of rainbow sky, and then we can just weave those blue bits into the center of the rainbow, making sure you're not coming out of the other side. All fingers and thumbs today, I can't thread the needle. Right, there we go. Put it tight. And there's one. And the same with this one, again making sure it's not coming out the other side. Put it tight. Snip off the end. And there we have our rainbow bookmark with our little cloud with the silver lining at the bottom. I really hope you found today's tutorial useful. If there are any information that you need to find out about this video, have a look in the descriptions below where I post all the links to any freebies and other videos I think you might find useful. Don't forget, if you have enjoyed this video, to give me a thumbs up below. Don't forget also to subscribe and hit the notification bell if you've enjoyed it and you'd like to see more of my tutorial videos. There are 2 other videos on screen to help you on your crochet journey, and I will see you over there. Thank you so much for joining me on this one, and happy hooking!